Well, hello, and welcome back. Checking audio levels here. Looks good. Need to make sure that I actually have my chat on. Hello, chat. Hey, this is a good one. What is this one? This must have just been released. April 4th. Indeed. Okay. OC Remix is what we're listening to. Alright, sound check on that sounds good. That's actually a little bit louder than I was expecting, so give me a second here to figure out what exactly we're doing. Okay, there we are. Okay, cool. Alright, we're just about ready to go here. So I'm just continuing with where we left off. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a recap, but before we do, let's pop out my friends. Open up a little Mountain Dew. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Okay. Where were we? So I need to find where was I? I'm gonna go to routes.go and see if I can just get no, not routes.go. I'm gonna go to main.go and see the list of routes. I think that we need to test that. No, I think we just did test this. I don't have an automated test for it yet. Gosh darn it. But we have the ability as sudo to get all the things. We need to make sure that we have the ability as sudo to create all the things. And then we need to have the ability as a user to modify the things that are owned by the user. Or I think maybe more the organization. I think we're gonna require an organization token to modify things that are owned by an organization. Okay, so currently we just have the get. So we basically have four or five APIs that we need to manage. And I don't have to have this perfect. I just need to have it good enough. So, do we want to allow replacing a record? I don't think I really want to do relationships right now. Well, yeah, kind of maybe do want to be able to have this. Ability to link individuals to their identity. That could be really nice. And an ability to set something between an org. Let me go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. Oh, Operation Timeout. How about now? How about now? Alright, there we go. That's what I like. Has a little bit of error, reconnects, good to go. So, what is it that connects an organization to a user? I think it's always done through a document. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay. So we need the ability to replace a document. We need the ability to forge a user's token, otherwise known as impersonation, but keep an audit trail of that. I'm trying to think how I wanted to do that. Because I already have something in place. I just am blanking right now on what it is. Oh, the impersonation system. I think it was effective user ID, real user ID, and effective user ID. I need to go check on that real quick. I need to go check on that somewhere else. But I need to make sure that I'm using the right name here. By the way, you may notice, probably not, but the jacket's gone. It was warm today. I have the windows open in the shed so that it can cool down tonight. That was a little unexpected. That came suddenly. We had snow on Friday, and then Monday it's all gone and it's kind of warm. Or we have effective ID and impersonator ID. Okay, I need to look something else up. I think I can do this over on this screen, though. Oh, if I could... Whoa, that's a lot of windows I've got open. Holy moly, what have I done? You didn't see them all, but I've got to have about 6 trillion tabs open. Is this any easier in Node? Is it any easier in Node? I don't know. What's up, Kai? How you doing? There's a bit of it that can be more fluid, because, you know, type helps and hurts at the same time. I think overall it's easier in Go. But there are a few things, for example, with the database that in Node you don't have to worry about. You can have things be null willy-nilly. But I did realize there's an option. So sorry, I still haven't gotten back to you. I only have 100 million things going on at one time. I only finished 0 of them. But in the SQL C, there is an option to emit... Basically to emit null. Bless me. I think this was my window from last time. Let's see if I can get to the SQL C docs. Okay, we'll go here. We'll go to the docs. And I'll see if I can find this. But there's an option to not use SQL Null. I don't know what the point of SQL Null is. It seems annoying. It's one of the overrides. Nullable. Emit pointers for null types. Right here. I don't know if this carries over to version 2 or not. I hope it does. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I have to look specifically at overrides or something. Emit prepared queries. Emit exact table names. Emit result struct pointers? No. You know, I think I might have seen your video about moving from Singapore to UK. But I'd kind of forgotten about it. But maybe congrats. I don't remember. I think it was a bittersweet kind of thing. Next thing I was going to do is explore GitHub Workflow with a Postgres service. Not sure if it makes any sense to test against a real DB. I think it depends on what you're trying to do. So mocking out database stuff is really hard. So testing against the real database is going to be more productive than... But it goes back to the idea of, is it something that's easy to unit test, or is it something that's easy to integration test, and those are different? And is it something where you can get the database in a particular state by just loading a database that is in that state? And if there's a specific condition you need to test for, you can just load the fixtures and then wipe the database. Of course, as the database gets larger, that's harder to do because you have lots of complex relationships and there's many different ways that things could interact. Okay. Anyway, I'll have to test and see if this still works in version 2 or not. It would make me very sad if that doesn't work in version 2, because that's an extremely useful thing to be able to emit without having that stupid SQL null. I mean, it just seems so weird. I don't understand what the point of that was. Anyway. Test certain handlers interact with the database as expected. So I gave a presentation on this. I don't know if it actually made it to YouTube. I think it may have. I think it was called something like MVC is dead, long live MVC. And the idea was that you probably, and it kind of follows the same pattern of what clean architecture suggests, the book, that you probably have business logic that you can test apart from the database. You don't actually need to insert data into the database and get data out of the database. I think this is one of the problems with ORMs. I think that ORMs tend us towards writing code that is more difficult to test and is more generic in the wrong way. It's a bad abstraction. But you could just pass in a list of data or an object with the data that you need and be able test it. Now, this does get kind of complicated sometimes because I've had this problem here, and I'd have to go and look back at how I solved it. But there are times when you get some data, and then you basically want to return a bunch of IDs. You do something with that data. You want to return a bunch of IDs so that you can go get more data, and then you want to take that data and do something with it and get more data. And so you end up with these 3 sets of data. So it seems really natural that your database calls should be in line. And essentially my argument is no. Break it up into different functions and have a function that does the one piece of business logic, a function that does the other piece of business logic, a function that does the other piece of business logic. And then when you go to mock it, you run the function that does the one piece of business logic, you check that you have the right IDs, and then you insert the data that's in the form that you want to test, and so on and so forth. And I think that this is actually less cumbersome than trying to deal with all the database fixtures. I don't know if that made sense. Let me know if that makes this sense. Yeah. SQL C seems to suffer from the open source disease of trying to do too many things. Yeah, I have that disease too, just as a person. But yes, I actually made comment on this. If we go to wherever SQL C is, I mean, it was just there, but whatever, we'll go back again. Now I'm going to go over. I think it was right here. So I said, just give me a paid license. Yeah, they want support for cockroachdb. They want support for this. We want support for that. I said, this is what I want. A pro license with 1 year, for 1 year plus free updates. What do you want to charge? This project is too important to be supported by donations alone. Right? But he's going the wrong direction. Sponsorships are the best way to do that. No, I don't want to financially support the project. I want to make sure the project exists for a business use case. I don't want to buy you donuts and pizza. I want to make sure that this software is available. If you aren't happy with the direction SQL C is taking, you are free to fork the project. So I also said in here, I'm disappointed that the project is becoming diluted by trying to be everything to everyone. I think paying users would benefit from a return to the Unix philosophy, which is echoed in the Go Proverbs: do one thing and do it well. Seems like this would easily lend itself to a family of separated licensable projects, such as you license a database parser, you license a code generator. But yeah, most open source people, they don't get it. They don't get it that their code is actually valuable. And it's hard. It's hard. Even if they do get it, it's really hard to get that money flow coming together. So, yeah. Anyway, let me see if I can figure this out. Because what I was looking at is how the tokens are put together. I had a sign function here somewhere in this libauth business. Let me see if I can go find it. See. Okay, user to claims, init tokens, send tokens. Where did auth util come from? Sorry, I'm looking over in this other project to try to mimic how the auth was here. Okay. We have effective ID and impersonator ID. Impersonator ID is the real user. Effective ID is the acting user. Okay. So what I'm going to do for stubbing out the token issue individual is we're going to insert in here the effective ID and then the real ID. And the real ID should basically be one of the accounts in the database. We need, let's see, we need to get a way to get the ID from the database for a particular person. Okay, we need to have my admin ID and do that right there. Okay. Oh, whoops. That was not what that was supposed to be. That was supposed to be this one and then this one. And yeah, just need to make sure that the audit trail is still going to work. Okay, let me check out comments here. You should link to your YouTube rant to hammer the point home, or rather pros and cons, spell out where things go wrong when they try to do too many things. I don't think it's worth it. So I recently got a little too invested in an open source project, and then I started doing some ad hoc research, and then I just kind of quit halfway through because I realized it doesn't really matter. You know, people want and deserve control over their projects, and they have to come to it on their own. They have to come to it on their own. It's one of those things, lessons that can only be learned, but cannot be taught. So I already whine about so many things. I don't think I need to add that to it in such a formal way, because I think I have had a rant about it before, and just a generalized rant I think can do value to people that are trying to think through these problems. But I don't think that specifically tagging them and say, hey, here's a video where I show you how you need to change your model of how you're doing your project. I don't think it's gonna actually give them benefit. Good that you filed an issue, at least. Most people don't bother to do that. Well, there's this one guy where I asked for a paid license, and the idea he actually did. He started offering paid licenses, not just because of me, but because other people gave it a thumbs up. And other people wanted a paid license for the product, and so he started offering paid licenses. Then he also still started adding too many new features, but still, it did what it needed to do, and bugs got fixed, and it was prioritized for him, and I thought that was great. How do you handle auth in your Go project? Hey, what's up, James Doe? How you doing? Well, the way that I am handling auth in this one is through my thing that I've created, which is libauth. So I'll give you a link to this. So basically have a whitelist, and this pairs well with another project Let me bring this project out. I think I called it SSO keys or something like that. SSO dev. So these are just keys that you could use if you want to be able to dev with a static OIDC issuer that can be hosted on GitHub pages. So you can use libauth with keys that you know, if you just use this as a template repository, I think, yeah, public template. So you could just use this repository as a template repository and then host it under your own organization domain. You put it into the whitelist, and then you create a token verifier that says whether the token is optional or not. The reason a token would be optional is if you want to say if the user is authenticated, then they can have access to more things. But if they're not authenticated, they can have access to public things. That's where you might have a route where you want optional tokens. Signed-in users get more stuff. But otherwise, there have been use cases for that. And then the issuer's whitelist is just your list of issuers, and the list of issuers has to have the RFC spec jwks.json, or is that, maybe that's not RFC spec, maybe that's, no, is it part of OIDC, or is it just part of, it might be part of Jose. Anyway, there's two special files that need to exist at that location, and then you just use your token verifier. So that's what I'm doing here. And then, yeah. How do you handle sessions? The sessions are handled in a same site cookie at a URL where cookies are allowed to be parsed. So let me see, because this kind of shows how to use it from an API perspective. But if I could go back to here, we don't no, this one's just from the API perspective as well. I will have at some point the rest of libauth available that handles the cookie aspect as well. But essentially, you put the long-lived token in a cookie that's on a same site domain for the SSO domain, and then you give a token, an ID token, that can be exchanged for an access token to the application. So the single sign-on is by cookie, and then everything else that connects to it is by token. And then the tokens, the ID token is for the user, the access token is for some particular access. James says, all good here. Had a few things come up, so was busy last week. Less PC time, more swimming, running, and business management. Well, that sounds good, right? So client-side cookies. No, not client-side cookies. The cookies are on the server side. And yes, there is the ability to kill the session from the server. So every time you use the ID token to... So what I actually do is there's a part of the session identifier is shared between the cookie on the SSO and the token, the ID token. So the ID token is used basically as a refresh token for the access tokens, which technically, I guess, it should issue a refresh token, but whatever. Every time that a new token is fetched, because cookie policies are different now, and so there's a bunch of other stuff that you have to work around because of the third-party cookies, because they want to block ads and trackers, but that also blocks login. But there's a shared identifier in the claims of the token between the one that's on the same site that's in the cookie the one that's on the consumer site, and the short-lived token. So the long-lived token is used to regenerate short-lived tokens, and every time that the long-lived token is used to regenerate a short-lived token, that cross identifier is checked. And if the session is deleted, so if you were to look at the list of sessions, we actually have the API for this for Savvy, but we haven't implemented the UI for it. You could get a list of the sessions and it'll show you this is an Android device, this is a Windows device, this is the IP address. It has all that information that you would expect in the API. And if you delete a session, then the next time that token gets used, it won't be able to renew. It'll return an error instead. So there is the ability to log out a different device from a different device. Okay, where was that here? I'm going to issue. Okay, so I've got this. Okay, what do I need to do? What's the next most important thing? I think the next most important thing is the ability for an org to be able to update a record. And for right now, we're just going to give it more control than it should have. So we're going to have a put. So I'm going to do this. Records. Record ID. Let's see. Update ledger record. Ah! Oh, by the way, BNNA. If I haven't told y'all about BNNA yet, bnna.net. Whoops, I messed that up. Let me try that again. Let's not put too many dots in there. bnna.net. Let me just bring this up on the screen so you can see the hosting service is coming together. Cloud hosting, privately owned, cheaper by the bunch. So servers have arrived. All the servers have arrived because there was one server left, but now it's here. And there's a couple of peripherals that have not arrived. There's some network cables that are still on their way. And there was an order where it got canceled because some of the items were actually out of stock. And so I just reordered from a different vendor. And let's see. Okay, that is actually in transit. It is actually expected to be delivered by Friday. Let me see. That one's expected to be delivered by Thursday. And this we ended up not needing, but it's expected to be delivered by Friday. Okay. So the data center should be ready on next Wednesday. So 1 week. And the servers should... all of the components, everything that we need should be here by Friday. I need to ask one question now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, and then there is one thing that we have on back order right now that I do not have a good solution for. I may need to order... Yeah, because there's something I have on back order that won't actually arrive until May. So I may... Anyway, I don't want to get too distracted by that. But this week I will be working on payment stuff for that. And I'm going to be working on some payment stuff for Dash too. So, it's coming together. Alright. So I was just checking to see, do we actually have an update ledger record? I don't know if we do. Update ledger record. Okay, we do have that. But it's not used? Interesting. Submitter and submission. I don't know if that actually makes sense. I need to double check on that. Yeah, that doesn't seem to flow. Oh. This doesn't look like... this is going to be good enough. I'm liking the tunes tonight. This is... oh, FTL Cold Boot. Yeah, I like this one. We're on the chiptune tag again. Okay. Present. I don't remember what that's about. Does something get done with that later? Oh! Okay, I think... okay, I think I kind of remember what this is. So basically, I don't do any sort of validation on what this document is. It should probably be called document rather than data. I'm going to take a look at that again and see... so if I just did select star from ledger limit 2. There's a documents. So am I really doing no validation on that? I guess I'm not. And this is coming in. Oh, this is too big. Create ledger record. JSON, raw message. Okay, and I did want to do the updates bit, but we decided not to do that. So I think I'm just going to let it be whatever. And I think I want the same thing except with on conflict update. And I'm going to put it under I'm going to put on a record. I always forget how to do this. What does update set look like? Okay, so we do have to just put them one by one by one by one. Is there a way to basically say update star? Okay, no, that's not a thing. Hey, what's up, Elon? So, you can't explore it yet because we have not built out the portals yet. So, right now, and the servers are still over there. So, we will be putting them into the data center either next week or in 3 weeks, depending on a couple of things. The data center should be ready for us next week, but we all three need to get together and go down and do the biometrics and get the keys and rack the units and all that. And so there's 2 times that might be mutually agreeable. Policies on crypto mining, it wouldn't make sense on our platform. It's not just simply a policy matter. It just wouldn't make sense to try to do mining of a cryptocurrency because we're not offering GPU accelerated systems. So you could pay for the CPU time, but it would not work out in your favor. You would lose more in the cost of paying for the CPU access than you would get in mining. So, but I mean, if you wanted to buy dedicated CPU, if that's what you wanted to do, and I'll sell you dedicated CPU. I don't think it, I don't think it's a problem. It's not going to be profitable. It's not going to do you any good. Okay, so let's say that we do this. Okay, so 1, 2, and we just start off with 3 here. Okay, we're not going to allow changing the account ID. That we could do with how are we doing the sudo stuff right now? Let me look that up. So sudo do. So we could have it be records org replace. So it's doing a replace with the permissions of the org. Maybe. That I think could work. So we can change the type of the record. What's all the stuff that we know about a record? So it's got ID, old ID. Can't change ID. Can't change. And I think we actually would need to have it run through. I would just want to invalidate the old one, maybe. Well, we'll see. Let's put here to do. Maybe just invalidate the old. Because this is going to be more complicated. Whoops. Okay, what do I have here? Old ID, account ID. Can't change that. All right. What's up, Hugo Lesta? Yeah, I love Go. I really do love Go. I think it's amazing. All right, submitted by, submitted as, submitted at. Submitted by, submitted as, submitted at. So these we are going to change. So do I want submitted by, submitted as? So yeah, so we got to have this auditing in here. So again, let's go ahead and just get rid of all this. So we're going to say, I guess it really should be, let's say ID comes first, then account ID, then who it's by, when it is, and then after that, we can say, okay, you can change the old ID, the record type, and then the data itself. Okay. So I think that's good. The problem is there's a little bit of processing for a record that we would not be doing. So I think the transform needs to happen first, then the processing needs to happen. And I'm not sure how it works right now. But so this was designed originally as an import system. So we've got an old system. The data is in a format that's not conducive to the types of queries that we're likely to want to do. So I want to export the data out of the old system into the new system, and the idea is that it doesn't change, but because we need to prototype, we're making it so that we can change it. Alright, records org replace. Actually, let me go all the way back here. Where was it? Under org, I think. Yeah. And now I need to go make that so. And API, oh what? Queries dot, yeah. Okay, context dot background. And then what does this need to look like? Did this fail? Okay, that one failed. I'm not blown away by that. Syntax error near account ID. Probably missing a comma or something. Let me go fix that because we need that. Yes. That's what we need. So we can get the autocomplete here. And then what were the pieces of this? We need the ID. Lately just jumping from Python to Node.js and Golang. Not for a real reason, just curiosity. I noticed it's really powerful. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think I would say try to learn 3 languages decently well. And learn languages that are a little bit different. Python and Go have a lot of similar philosophy behind them. Go is kind of just a modern Python in a lot of ways. And then Node, I love Node personally, but it's because I don't use it in the way that most people do. I use it in a very simple way. It would drive me insane to have to use it the way that most people use it. I am actually creating and commissioning a programming language called AI Script. I have a demo meeting for that tomorrow morning, actually, to kind of see how things have progressed. The project probably has to go on pause for a little while, but this is kind of the first end-to-end demo for it. And it is a language that will run in browsers without any transpilation, without any modification. But it is its own language. So syntactically, it fits inside what a browser will run, and it doesn't break what works in a browser, but it is its own language, and it's a tool-assisted language. So much like Go is very tool-assisted and Rust is very tool-assisted, AI Script is intended to be that, but more so. So the type annotations get added automatically and updated automatically, and the values, basically it's interpreted at, it's statically interpreted. It's a statically interpreted language. so that you know what code paths the code can take, and it knows what types are available and what's actually going on before it happens. So everything's happening during the developer experience. and everything is, well, as much as can be automated is automated. But right now the demo is basically just a factory function, a function that returns a new instance of a thing. Okay, so I need to, let me go get that records org replace params. And this is going to have to be really similar. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. So it's very, right now it can't do very much. It's very, very limited. It's not a fully useful language. And the guy who's working on it has done I think a pretty amazing job with the time that he's put into it so far. He's also ridiculously expensive, and I can't afford him. So I'm trying to get to a point where there could be a handoff, and I can take from what he's done, copy and paste, and add more features to the language. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I think to create this language, it would be something like $100,000, $200,000 project to really do it if I was going to pay it, and I can't afford that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to have the ID, account ID, submitted by, oh really, that's a string. Submitted as, we have to take a look at that again. Submitted at old ID, record types, I don't actually think that's how that works. Let me see again. Okay, there we go. That was that. I was using the source. Did you see that? I closed my eyes and I just used the source. Didn't let my eyes deceive me. Yeah, I don't remember what goes there. Even the source couldn't help me. There we go. Okay, so there's all this. This is effectively what this is. Oh, this is missing the final comma. See, things like that, that should just be handled for you automatically. Okay. Fixing bugs. What do you think of Dino? I'm not interested in it. I used to be. I used to have positive feelings about it, but now I just want it to die. I'm very interested in Bun, but I think Dino is just a waste of space at this point. It didn't really catch its wave in its time, and I don't know, maybe it'll become popular. But they reintroduced a lot of the same problems that we already had, and that wasn't that big of a deal. That's just par for the course. That's how. You know. After Go's module system, there is no excuse for any programming language to ever have a module system that sucks ever again. I'm assuming that you've probably watched Go with Versions, that talk where he outlines every solvable problem that a versioned package manager or module manager or whatever can handle. And he objectively outlined these are the possible solutions and the trade-offs, and this is the path that has the fewest trade-offs with the best outcomes objectively. So after that talk, there is no excuse for anybody to screw up their module system anymore, because we have something that, unless you can come up with some sort of counterproof, we know the optimal path for these things. We know it. It's not, well, what if we do? No, we know. We know. If you can come up with a counterexample, fine, do it. But we know what these things need to be. And so I think recreating the same, going back to the pre-Ruby days and reintroducing all of the problems all over again, unexcusable. Truly unexcusable. Especially because this guy, Ryan Dahl, he has the experience of everything that he got wrong with Node, right? Which he did. I mean, for a college student, for anybody, he did a great job. But there's a huge ton of bugs. And the things that he's trying to solve with Dino, a lot of them aren't real problems. So, for example, when was the last time that you created an application that you didn't want to have access to the network? The sandboxes that Dino has are not... The sandboxes are not really at the right level. I don't know what the use case is. I guess some people say the edge. You could create something that just renders text. That's all it's allowed to do. Okay. So I was excited about it for a minute, but no more. And I'm going to change this to be an OK. Because then if I decide to change it to a struct later, the type will still hold. Alright, and then what do I need to do here? I need to go find out where this raw JSON was coming from. Yeah, this really needs to be cleaned up. There's a reason I did it this way. And I'm not ashamed. But it's not the way that I want to continue forward. I think I want a background task that does some of what this is doing. So we insert the data. We may not actually have all the right party information yet. But then we background the task to process it and then update it with processed. So basically you have another value that's processed at. And as long as processed at is older than submitted at, then we need to process it. Okay. It is actually a little bit colder in here than I would like. I wonder, do I still have a jacket in here? I had an extra jacket in here. I think I took it back. But it is just a wee bit chilly. Oh, what am I talking about? I got these heaters. Duh. That's okay. We can do both. We can have the AC and the heaters going, right? Interesting. It has to warm up. It's not that cold. But yeah, I'll have to next time. I'll have to bring a jacket here because now we're in a really strange weather pattern where it gets both too warm and too cold. Pretty soon it'll be way too warm though, and I have no idea what I'm going to do because we insulated this for winter. And I am so fearful that it is not going to be possible to get any form of air conditioning, that this thing is going to be, well, it's on the opposite side of the house such that it should remain fairly cool in the summer. But yeah, you know. Okay, and I will need to close the windows in here. All right. So record types, record.ledger type. Let me see. How is this going to come in? How did I define? Okay. Where did message come from? So okay, because that was raw message, and we can unmarshal raw message into record. Okay, I think I got back to where I'm at. Yo, what's up, Gobi? I'm living abroad for at least 2 years, Hugo says. There's no day I don't say it's cold. Okay. I lived in Albania for a while, and the winters were, they were bitter. Because the humidity, woo. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop that one. I'm gonna plug this one in over here for a spell. Why is that? Oh. Okay. I'm going to turn that one on. Good for nothing heaters. They just randomly stop working. Okay. Where am I at? Yeah, the humidity. Cold humidity. It becomes biting cold. I actually prefer humid hot. Well, Albanian humid hot. Well, that was, you'd walk outside and literally within seconds you were soaking wet. That was next level. But in general, I prefer a humid hot to a dry hot. It's just weird because when I'm in Virginia, there's things that I forget. So, for example, here in Utah, I can shave just while I'm walking down the street. Anytime. I just pull out my electric shaver and just... Zzz, if I'm in the car, if I'm walking down the street, whatever. And then when I'm done, I just... And then, boom. It's great. In Virginia, if I do that, the hair, it sticks. It just, any of the stray hairs, they just stick. They're glued to you. Okay, records, org, replace. Let me get back to this. So what I want to do then, I think is both. How am I doing this? So there's going to be a raw JSON. Raw message. So we're going to type record update struct, and it's going to have data all right. Record blah 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 blah. So basically, the type is going to be about the same here. There's some of these things that I wish that we didn't need wrapper types for. It seems like Go kind of already has a way to do this. So it seems like we shouldn't need a wrapper type like this for pgtype.jsonb. It seems like that should happen behind the scenes. We should just be able to use json.raw message here, but whatever. So the ID is going to come in, and that's going to be a string. Specifically, that's a ULID. Whoops. Oh, and again, we need to do JSON ID, JSON data. We don't need to worry about the account ID that's on here. Submitted by, that's going to be done by the system. So old ID, no, this is going to be what? Int 64, is that what we decided? Float 64, I think. Ah, what'd I do? This is so weird. The heaters aren't working, but I don't know why. And I sneeze when I get cold. Okay, I might have to run back to the house and grab a jacket. Because... Okay, good. No bogeys. Oh! Braun, 100% in the face. Literally in the face. Every time in the face. Braun. No on the Panasonic. I've had both. The Braun Series 7. Get it on eBay. $40. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive in Singapore or in the UK, but the Braun Series 7, you're going to pay just as much for the shaver as you're going to pay for the heads, and you're going to love it. Some people prefer the Series 9, but they say that the Series 9 versus the Series 7 is such a slight difference that it's... Let's see. Braun Series 7. Okay, this is not the Series 7 that I have. This is the Series 7 that I have right there. Look at that. $40. $40. Comes with all the stuff, and then you're going to pay, you're going to buy the heads as well. And I don't know about the new Series 7. I'm used to the old Series 7. I've actually bought 3 of these because I've lost 2 of them. Actually, I think I've bought 4 of them because I've lost 2 of them on flights. It fell out of my bag or out of my pocket or something, and I lost one on a flight a couple years ago, and I had it for several years, and then I lost another one on a flight. So I need to put them not in my carry-on luggage. Well, the reason I put them in my carry-on luggage is because of the lithium battery. But okay, here you go. So $30. I think that's actually a pretty good deal. You check Amazon. You might be able to find a better deal on getting a 2-pack, but I think $30 on the head is actually a pretty good deal if it's brand new. Just be careful not to get the fake heads, because that's kind of half the battle. If you get a fake head, then it's not going to work that well. Alright, so we got the old... The record type. Okay, record type is... And is record type of record type? Well, let me see. Record types. I think record type is of type record type. Yes, that is the case. Alright, what else we got going on here? I think that's it. The ID that's being replaced. All of this is provided by the system. Old ID, record type, data. That looks about right. So when this comes in then... We're going to decode? Yeah. So Kai, what are you doing, if anything, to handle the HTTP error boilerplate? That's what I feel like. I just end up creating a lot of small functions to wrap a few of these things so that the error handling is a little more standard. Okay, and record, bad decode. I guess there should be a status here as well, huh? That's one thing that this is missing. I don't know why that doesn't... Why I didn't do that. But I probably should do a set status on this. Right header, right, yeah, func, right, JSON, error, HTTP, error, error 2, forgive me for I have sinned. There. I saw it in Rust first, so it can't be that bad. And this, okay, this is going out to standard error. I want that? No, I don't. All right, I'm going back on it again. Every time I use autocomplete, I have to wonder, was it worth it? Did I actually save any time or effort by using that kind of autocomplete? Because methinks maybe not. I'll get back to comments in just a second. Maybe. There we go. I don't know if that saves me much. Alright, let me check comment. Whoa! So many comments! Okay, I come from Argentina. Same things happen here. It's too hot sometimes, then that cloth is getting stick. And summer, what? I don't know exactly what you meant by that. For you, note sub, do not go away from home if not in a car. Lol. Sorry, I missed it. I used C# and a little bit of C++, not other ones much. This is Golang. It's the best language. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. It is the best language. Oh, there we go. Oh, I see what was wrong with the heater. Is it was still set on 60 degrees because it overshoots a bit. So it's still set on 60 degrees for, a couple days ago when it was really, really cold. All right, there we go. Now the heater's going. Currently working on a tracer app. Hold on, let me pull this over a little bit so I can see a little bit better here. Will it let me do this? No. Okay. Fine. Will it let me do it this way? Can I go this way? Nope. Alright, well, we'll just go with what it gives me here. Alright. So, currently working on a tracer app, not for anything malicious, but as a way for AI to scour the internet to find things similar to an image that you import basically to find things. If you know the general design, you could draw it or something. You could just shove it, and it'll find other images and names like it. Okay, cool. What I've really been impressed with is plant identification. That's the thing that I've actually used image recognition for, is plant identification. Are these berries poisonous that are growing in our backyard that my son just tried to eat? What is this magnificent plant that is here at this outside this restaurant or at this park or whatever? Things that are put there on purpose. What do you think about clean software architecture? I started coding that way and it helped me to separate the logic into different layers. Yes, absolutely. I think that it's great. I love the clean architecture book. I'm over halfway through it. Yeah, but a lot of times when I'm prototyping stuff, I'm not necessarily doing it the way that... It just depends. My code kind of morphs more. I follow the philosophy of write everything twice. Avoid hasty abstractions. So I kind of yo-yo to try to find the nice middle ground as I am working on a project. I started working with HTTP requests by using a library from Uber called FX, which basically provides the possibility to centralize the context and also invoke functions like middleware. Okay. I've used something like that in the past. Probably not good a deal for every web development, however it was quite good for me. I tend to like, for the requests themselves, I tend to like the composition idea more than the middleware. I like the middleware idea much more on the server side, but I've played around with the middleware approach on the client side, and I just don't... there's uses for it. I've used it. I don't think it's just... I don't know exactly why... Because I even designed some code like that. And I thought it was going to be really great, and I was going to use it all the time, but then I just didn't. But on the server side, I do. I find it really, really helpful. On the client side, I just end up writing a couple of request functions that call the extra couple methods that they need to call. So, but yeah, I like the idea in general. I haven't really found the practical use case for myself. All right, so we're going to do record org replace record. That sounds like record. So I almost want it to be... Because it's supposed to be record, not record. I don't like words that are both verbs and nouns. I try to stay away from them when I can. Alright, so that's going to be that. And then... let me go ahead and go back here. I should see... require org ID. And so we're going to have party ID key org ID. I think I actually should change that into a separate type. But we'll go with it for now. It shouldn't break anything. Okay. So I want to do... oh, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Okay. My eyes are heavy. I should have done this much earlier today. I wanted to, but not enough. But I definitely want to get this done, at least this part, before tomorrow. So I can say, hey, here's what I did. And actually have a deliverable. I like deliverables. Deliverables are nice. Being able to tell your people, hey, I did the thing. Party ID. Alright, actually, party ID key is not going to work. So where did I define that at? Oh, I already defined it here in routes. Oh, we have a slight problem here that I wasn't thinking about before. Let's see, effective ID key. Impersonators or users ID. Okay, now, so the problem here is that the effective user may not actually, the effective user will exist, but the impersonator may not exist in the system. So I may want impersonator to be Actually, this is better, an as and a by. Okay. Okay. So this is good now. The problem is that we're gonna have to migrate over the database of users. This system is going to morph in from the original idea, but that's fine. Yeah, that's going to be all right. Oh, let's see. And this is org. Let's see. So what am I doing here with that context with value? I think I just create another context, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. So this would just be ctx dot with value ctx. No? Hold on. I'm blanking on this. Does it set value? Let me try this. Hold on. No, there we go. That's it. Alright, so here we got to write DB error and write HTTP error, and that's going to be pretty common, so maybe we should, yeah, boilerplate. Subject is the effective ID, and we need, what was it, impersonator? And this one, it's actually okay if it's not okay. Old ID. We don't need a return. This is not a composite literal. I'm a little confused about why it thinks it is. Oh, because I put the if in front. That's why. So its syntax is thrown off. So we're going to say, if it does have that field, go ahead and use it. And then what else? Okay. Actually, I don't know if we really do want that one. Dang, my eyes are so tired. Hey, great music, video games based, for some reason gives me nostalgia. Of course it does. That's the very definition of nostalgia. And we are listening to the chiptune tag on OC Remix. There you go. Okay. And at some point, I'm going to need to split this party ID key into individual ID and org ID. Well, I guess I've kind of did the split just now. Okay, when it gets to a situation like this, I prefer consistency. So when it gets to be a situation like this, I just want all of the with values to have the same, to be the same. So I'm doing the assignment first, and then all of these lines are consistently the same. And then we do the R with context. So one of the things that's going to annoy a lot of people about AI script is that you're actually only allowed to do one operation per line. And I'm sure this will get abused and turn out to be terrible, but the idea behind it is that you have good variable names. You don't really need comments, and you can look and see what something does. So there's no ternary expressions or complex expressions. Everything is either you can have somewhat complex accessors, meaning you can do context dot this dot that dot whatever, You know, so you could have a.b.c.d.e.f, but as soon as you invoke, it's done. As soon as you invoke, that is the end of the expression. And so that would be an accessor expression could go all the way to here. And so you have to, and in terms of performance and everything, it's the same, because that's what the compiler has to do anyway. The compiler, there is no such thing in the compiler as doing multiple operations at a time. You always do things step by step. I think that it is possible to do what Go does with the A, B equals C, D. I think that actually is possible in the compiler. I don't remember precisely, but I think there was something like that. Okay, so now we have... There we go. Imp ID. Yeah, that actually is really nice. Don't you love it when an API comes together? Yeah, this is taking shape. Very nice. Alright, so now we're going to go back here. And what was I working on? Record, org, replace. There we go. There we go. I don't know why I called that org ID key. I think that's only used here, right? Yeah. So that's kind of weird. What did I actually want to call this thing? And what would this be? I think this would better be written as probably actually maybe party ID key. Okay, that's probably good enough. All right, I need to wrap this thing up. Just because I'm so tired. Okay. Let's see, what are we doing here? Back to record org replacement. So we're going to assume that these exist because in order to get here it had to go through the org auth. And so if this is here, then let's see, old ID is still going to be whatever old ID is. So that's going to be record.old ID. And this is going to be the old ID for what, though? That's where I made a mistake here, maybe. Old ID of the organization, I think. Actually, I don't think we want to allow this to be changed. Yeah, let me get rid of that. Whoops. Ah. Alright, where'd that raw JSON come from? And where time.now comes from. And that would be, what, record.data? And then record type. This sounds more like the variation of Super Mario from Window to the 7 Stars. No, wait. Super Mario RPG. It just feels like there ought to be a better way of encapsulating this with the errors. I really do like the idea of maybe having the question mark or something. It just feels like there does need to be a better way to encapsulate errors, because I think I get what they're saying with handle errors where they happen, but I also disagree, because I think that in most cases you actually do want to let errors bubble up. I gotta watch one of the talks where they go over that design that design decision. Okay, unknown record type. So there's basically no business logic in here. This is just straight parse it and place it. See, it gets harder to read when you have multiple operations in the same line. The only reason that I'd want to do this, and maybe it's not even necessary actually, but the only reason I'd want to do this is for scope. And it looks like, okay, so we can get scope this way. So see, now BG can get, the correct word isn't garbage collected, because basically you can immediately know by the end of the scope or by the end of the function whether something is used or not. And so if it's not used again, you can immediately get rid of it. In the case of errors, since you're using error a lot, it might be advantageous just to leave the error hanging around, except that the problem is that the errors can be of different types. So you can have a concrete type that matches the error interface, so the return is correct, but the assignment is incorrect. And so that's a way to not have to deal with that. And let's see if we're going to do... And I kind of prefer this. So let's take a look at this right here. So there we go. So can we can create these scopes. And then these start to feel like they could just be one scope. I don't know if that's actually accurate, because that doesn't, they don't need to live for the same lifetime. But then it just starts to feel like everything would just go together, you know? Then you can just look at this and you can say, oh, well, params only needs to, only needs to exist for this long. But in that case, all of this only needs to live for this long. And so then, pretty soon, we're back to, well, decoder we actually would want to let fall out of scope. And okay, we actually do want to let fall out of scope. But then, isn't the same true for everything? It's kind of one of those, when everyone's special, no one will be type of deals. Yeah, because then... So then we're back at the whole inline the error, and then you give the scope the error that, or you give the error the scope that way. Okay. Oh, my eyes are so heavy. It's pretty unbelievable. My eyes are more tired than the rest of my body feels, but they are really tired. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, that's it. That is our replace function. So let me just do a whip commit on that. We need to get this deployed somehow. I'm not going to deploy it tonight. I'm just going to go. But I'll deploy it tomorrow. Let's make sure that things are actually compiling. Okay, things are compiling. We have the org record, so we can overwrite a record. There's some more stuff that we need to do. I've thought about actually creating a little tool that would read the JSON and generate all of the CRUD stuff kind of all at once. I'm not sure. And it would, the purpose would just be to generate boilerplate. The purpose wouldn't be to get it exactly right, but the purpose would be to say, hey, we need, say there's these couple of access levels, just generate all the code. Kind of define, take the JSON out of SQL C, define some access level logic to say we need each of these, these getters are public, these getters, if it's a getter by this type of ID, then it's scoped to the permission of whatever that ID represents, such as the organization or user or sudoer. But does this make sense? We have the ability to get my records, we have the ability to get my org's records, we have the ability to post, to replace a record from the org perspective. We have the ability to see all the party roles, party types, record types. We have the ability to get all the individuals or the organizations to create party role, record type, or records. I think this last one actually needs to be a little bit different. I want to rework the import that I did. I think I could do a better job of that. So I'm just going to have a little to-do for myself. I'm just gonna put it local here. Do I have a notes or a to-dos? if processed at is less than submitted at process new parties. Okay. Collect new parties. Collect new relationships. Maybe this should be drop. So we'll say drop parties. Drop old parties, drop old relationships. No, we don't drop the parties, we drop the relationships. So drop old relationships, collect new parties, collect new relationships, drop old relationships, forge new. Oh my goodness, my eyes. So there's my pseudocode. Yeah, because we definitely need a process step. Okay, we're gonna call that good. And I've got my to do. I didn't test it, but it's type safe, so it should work, right? Of course not, but that's okay. I'll get around to that tomorrow. Okay, I've got to go just because my eyes are they're betraying me. Filthy, dirty eyes. By the way, if you like what you like, you get more what you like. So if you've enjoyed this at all tonight, I've been in a good mood too. Thank goodness. I was in a bad mood earlier today. Not a bad mood, just an arrogant mood, but in a bad way. You know, because usually when I'm in an arrogant mood, it's a good way. But no, tonight I was in a good mood. I wish I could have gone longer. I do have a meeting at 11, so that's 8 hours away. I need to go get some sleep. Anyway, thanks for joining in, and we're gonna have a little quick raid here. So let me figure out more about that real quick. Our raid is going to be to the Dev Dad. Boom. All right, here we are. 5. Thanks. 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, the Dev Dad. Adios.